Hey, my name is Ethan, and throughout this series, I wanted to share with you what I believe to be are the basics of guitar music theory. The goal is that you'll be able to take these different ideas and make your own music, as well as make music with other musicians. All music theory is a language specifically for music for us to communicate different ideas more efficiently. Helps you in the learning process and it helps you in the creation process. So, tune in. If there's something specific you want to look at, jump to that video or jump forward throughout these different videos. I'm going to be covering some basic things earlier on, and then we'll jump into more complex things moving forward. So you go wherever you need support as you're in your playing journey, and let me know if there's any things that you have questions about that I can help with. I'm a guitar player around the Nashville area, as well as an instructor, session player, live player, things like that. I write my own music, and the goal is just to make music. So I hope that you'll jump in with me, make your own music, and find that joy for yourself. So let's start here. All right, so the anatomy of the guitar. So basics. We got to know these different parts of our instruments, so then if I point to something, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is an acoustic guitar. There are a few main elements on it, and then some more specific things we'll break down. First off, we got the head of the guitar. Guitar's got a head, I've got a head. Got the neck of the guitar, guitar's got a neck, I've got a neck. Got the body of the guitar, just like I got a body, right? Guitar's got a body, I've got a body. Then from there, we'll look at the strings, one of the most important parts of the instrument. So let's go back over to the head of the guitar. This is also sometimes referred to as the headstock. On the headstock, you're going to see these 6 metal things here. These are called your tuners or your tuning keys. These look kind of like a key, and as you turn them, they help you set the pitch of each of your 6 strings if you're on a 6-stringed guitar. They change the way each of those strings sound, and there's specific ways we want to set those tuners that we'll move forward and cover in a second, but they help change and control the sound of your instrument, string by string. From there, this little white piece here on our guitar, that's called the nut. Now the nut on the guitar helps keep a proper string height and string spacing. So the strings are exactly where we want them to be. It helps improve the playability of our instrument, keeps our strings from moving all over the place and breaking and such. Very important piece of the instrument. Moving forward, we have the neck on the guitar. Few components on the neck. You're going to see these metal pieces that are kind of running up and down, right? Those are called your frets, F-R-E-T, frets. Below the frets, there's going to be, on my guitar, this dark brown piece of wood. That dark brown piece of wood, board, is called a fret board. So the frets sit on a fretboard. The fretboard sits on the entire neck component itself, as such. Moving on from there, we have those little dots that you can barely make out on my instrument. They largely change based off of the aesthetics of different instruments, but they functionally do the same thing. Those little dots that you're going to see across your fretboard, fret dots or fret markers, those help mark the frets of your instrument. So we're going to count up the frets of our instrument, moving from close to the headstock all the way up close to the body to increase in number. So if you take a look towards the nut of the guitar, that very first fret right next to the nut is fret 1. And you're going to keep counting on up from there as you get closer to the body. So you have fret 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, etc., etc., etc. You'll notice different dots on different frets. Again, it's an aesthetic thing. Your guitar might have different fret dots in different locations than mine does. For example, I have a fret dot on fret 5, but no fret dot on fret 3. It could be really common to see different configurations like that. However, if you look on the top of your guitar, you might also notice some fret dots on the top of the fretboard, or I guess the side of the fretboard. So as you're looking down, you can reference which fret your hand may be close to without having to crane your neck over your instrument to see where you are on the guitar. So they help you keep track of the positioning on the neck. How do we even hold the neck, by the way? So whether you're a right-handed or left-handed guitar player, you want to, for your your fretting hand, excuse me, you're going to basically place the neck of the guitar, let it rest on the center of your palm of your hand. So in my case, I'm going to use my left hand as my fretting hand, as I'm a right-handed guitar player, and the neck is going to rest in the middle of my palm here. Next, I'm going to take my thumb, and it's going to generally rest along the middle of the back of the neck, and it will slide up or down on the back of the neck depending on what I need to access. And of course, you'll always be sliding your hand along the neck to access different parts of the fretboard, but your thumb generally can hang out around the middle of the back of the neck. So again, we're holding the neck in the palm of our hand, thumb is hanging out around the middle of the back of the neck, and then we got our fingers which wrap around the front of the fretboard, so we can play our strings. This is how we're going to hold our guitar with our fretting hand. Moving on from there, just so we got some stability, let's take a look at the body. So, the body on a guitar. This again is an acoustic guitar. It's basically a giant box connected to strings with a hole in it. This helps the sound bounce around on the inside of the guitar, comes out louder than it would have if it were a smaller box or a solid piece of wood like an electric guitar. Tons of different types of guitars, but they're generally going to function the same way. On the body, acoustic guitar at least, we have the back, the sides, and the top of the guitar that make up the box. On the top of the guitar, we now have this dark brown piece of wood. This is called the bridge of your instrument. And on that bridge, we have a few more components. I got these 6 little dots here. Those are called the string pins or the bridge pins, and they pin the strings into the bridge, hence string pins, bridge pins, whichever you want to call them. They just help hold those strings into the bridge so your strings don't go flying off of the instrument, right? From there, we got this white piece here. This is called the saddles, or saddle. I got a singular saddle here with individual saddle slots on my acoustic guitar, but the whole thing is called the saddle. Now, you might think of it as how a person would sit on a saddle would sit on a horse in order to ride a horse. Here we got the strings sitting on the saddle sits on top of the bridge in order for your strings to be played on your instrument. So, top, bridge, string pins or bridge pins, saddles. Then we got our strings. Now, for holding our instrument, again, we're going to wrap our arm over the top of the guitar. Our hand is going to reach over, and that allows your picking hand, in this case my right hand as a right-handed guitarist, to then be able to strum the strings, pick the strings to play our guitar. One more thing, the sound hole on my guitar. Again, like I mentioned, sound bounces around inside the top of this guitar, comes out of the sound hole louder than it would have if there was a smaller box or no box at all. So, sound hole. Strings now. I got 6 of them. We're going to count these 6 strings from the skinniest string towards the floor. That's going to be string 1. And then the thickest string towards the sky is going to be string 6. So we would count it up like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was strings 1 through 6. Now, each of our 6 strings, 1 through 6, are going to have letter names associated with them as well. This is extremely important for you to know and to memorize. We want to be able to memorize those letter names because we're going to use those later on for our note names. There's going to be letter names for every single fret across the fretboard, and we're going to start off by needing to memorize these string names. So, here's an easy phrase to help you remember those names of those strings. We're going to start from string 6, again, the thickest string towards the sky. This is also the lowest pitched string. It sounds low. Versus string 1, which is the highest pitched string on our standard tuned instrument. String 6 versus string 1. So, we're going to start on string 6. Here's the phrase. Elephants and dogs got big ears. Elephants and dogs got big ears. Let's play it. Elephants and dogs got big ears. Elephants and dogs got big ears. You're just going to take the very first letter of each one of those words, and then you'll have the names of your strings from string 6 to string 1. Elephants and dogs got big ears. E, A, D, G, B, E. Those are the names of your guitar strings. You may have noticed you have 2 different E's. Elephants and ears, if you're using those words. E and E, right? E, E. So, I mentioned earlier that string 6 is the lowest pitch strings. It has that really low sound. And string 1 is the highest pitch string. It has that high sound. Now, you're going to call string 6, the elephant string, low E. And then string 1 is going to be high E, ears. So elephants, ears, low E, high E. Okay, so let's play through each of our strings and call them by their letter names. If you got to slow down this video, go ahead and do that using the little settings that you got on YouTube or whatever. Here we go. Here's low E, A, D, G, B, high E. Again, low E, A, D, G, B, E, high E specifically. So those are going to be the letters of each of your strings. You really want to get those memorized. Low E, A, D, G, B, E, high E, because we're going to be referencing those moving forward. And they're going to be really helpful as we're pointing out different strings to play to get really specific as we're going through our technique. Additionally, we have, you may have seen me using guitar picks. So I'm using this thing. Some folks call them plectrums. I'm calling this a guitar pick. Now, you're going to take the guitar pick in your hand. You're going to hold it. I got this pointy part here of this triangle, and I'm striking the string with that pointy part. And I can take that pick and run it through each of the strings to strum across the entire instrument. There's all different kinds of combinations and techniques to be able to pick. You can use your fingers, that's called finger style. You can just use your thumb if you don't have a pick. But if you got a pick, go in and use it. Okay, that's going to be kind of your first basics. Memorize those string names. Remember these different parts of our instrument because we will refer to those moving forward. All right, see you soon.